Cool, guys. How's everyone doing? All right. Welcome to our mid-course webinar. So this is a great time for us to be able to catch up. It makes a change for me not to be talking to my phone and actually seeing faces and human beings. Right. So it's really nice to be able to see you guys here. So the first thing that I want to do is congratulate on all of you being here or going through this process. If we look all the way back to like when you were this guy here before you even joined the 5-day or the webinar, depending which way you come through, and you start looking at where you were, which is going to be 2 plus pre-course, which is maybe what, 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, you kind of like were coming into this journey, not really knowing exactly what was going to be happening, didn't really know where maybe life was going. Maybe just feeling constantly shit about yourself and frustrated about the hamster wheel that you're on. And then all of a sudden we're here 4 weeks later and we are discussing like the huge leaps that you've made in your lives. Okay. What I really want to do over this particular workshop and webinar is kind of talk about how do we make this, how do we build our future? How do we create a future? How do we build something that's going to last forever? Because, you know, when I look at the personal development world and I look at everything going on around and how things work, everything is about like the immediate fix. Everything is about like, right, you know what, let's do an 8-week transformation program. Let's get our bodies looking really, really great. And then after those 8 weeks, it doesn't really matter because we've got ourselves in our great shape and then we just forget everything that we're going to do. And it's not just that, it's not just the bodies, it's the mind, it's the lifestyle, it's your relationships, it's your career, it's your mental health, it's your emotional health. So it's really about like, how do I make this my life? And the way that, and there's 2 different versions of this. There's one version where people live their lives and then what they see is doing something like this as an add-on. And then there are people that live their lives and make that this way of life their way of life. So we're kind of integrating everything you're doing now. It's not just about getting you in a good place for 28 days. It's about changing your life forever until you stop breathing, until you die. Because I've been in this game a long time now. I've been like from training military men to professional sports athletes, to CEOs, to dads of 3, to like postmen. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's the same mentality. It's the same mindset. We build ourselves up and then we end up crashing back down. It's like this mountain range effect that we have, okay? We're up and we're down, or up and we're down. And I guess my purpose in all of this and my passion is how do we make this permanent? And that was the thing that I found, like when I was at your stage, when I came out of the military, and I spoke about this briefly, especially on the 5-day and the webinar, depending which one you come through. But the thing that I found when I had made a decision to shift my life, and I remember that one particular night, which I think I talked to you guys about, where it culminated in the peak point of my existence, feeling that I just couldn't be here anymore. And then from that point, working on myself and finding a way to permanently change this. And I was looking for all of the answers, and I was up and then I was down. I was up and then I was down. And the thing I realized is that everything that is out there in the world, all of the problems that we face, all of the chaos, all of the frustration, all of the stress, all of the dickhead bosses, the negative individuals, all the people that bring us down, all of that is never, ever going to change. That is never, ever, ever going to change. You are still going to have the negativity of the world, the chaos, the not liking your job, the loving your job, whatever it is. But what can change is this and how you deal with it and how you cope with it. And I like to think that within just 2 weeks that you guys have already started to see a difference in the way that you handle that world out there and everything kind of coming in, right? And you've done that quite incredibly well. And I've been reading through, like I read through everything, mainly when I'm just on my walks, I'm sitting there in the morning, I'm reading through the comments and I'm starting to see a change of language. And if you think back to that mindset focus that I talked about, and I was talking about the language that you use, and the language that you use creates the identity. That is the process. That is the process that we're trying to change. And the way that we think every single morning from when we wake up. And I think sometimes people think you become immune to the chaos and the frustration, but we all still wake up and we still all fight the chimp. We still fight the negative chat. We still fight the insecurities in the morning. Everybody feels that when they wake up. But from that first week, and I chose the morning routine for the first week, and you guys are the first course to come through in this revamped course, where I felt the morning routine creates the mindset. Okay, it creates the direction that you're going. It builds up the mentality that you need. And how do you get yourself in the right frame of mind to be able to dominate the day, your career, your relationships, making the right decisions, managing your emotions? And reading on it and looking at the morning accountabilities, it's starting to come through. And guys, bear in mind, you're 2 weeks into a journey. So some of you have got 50 years left to live. Some of you have got 40 years left to live. Like, we've all got various years to live. You're 2 weeks into a monumental journey, right? And that morning routine is going to evolve. It's going to change. You're going to start to see it differently. The way that I do my morning routine from 6 years ago is dramatically different to the way that I do my morning routine now. Okay. So that's going to change. Second week, we've created vision. So something that a lot of you might not have done is thought about, where am I going in my life? Okay. And you don't have to have all of the answers right away. We don't have to suddenly go, right, I need to know where my 10-year vision is. Okay. Guys that I work with in my private group, in my small group environment, we end up doing 6 drafts before we're happy with it. You'll end up maybe changing after the first quarter, but the whole point is to get something down and start thinking long-term about where you're going to be, rather than how do I just get through the day just to get me to the weekend so I can just forget about the world for 2 days, build up the anxiety again on Sunday and go back in Monday, not knowing where I'm going. And that's what I call the hamster wheel effect. And having that vision and understanding the connections of the emotions, that how it makes you feel. And like, whenever I have a really turbo bad day, what I end up having in my office is like this I bought this huge cork board. And what I did is create a vision board for those 10 years. So everything that I want to achieve in those 10 years, every time I forget what I'm trying to go through, or I self-doubt myself, or whatever those emotions that always come into our way, always looking at something like that vision board is huge, because it just reminds you of the emotional connection of why you're showing up. It reminds you about, actually, one bad day doesn't mean one bad week. And one bad week doesn't mean one bad month. And one bad month doesn't mean one bad year. So it's a case of like, my God, remember the mission, remember the mission. And it's the phrase that I think hopefully some of you coming into this world are going to start to understand and see a little bit more, and understanding that. So moving forward over the next 2 weeks, next week, you're going to learn how to manage your time in the short term. Okay, so how to understand the difference between growth goals and maintenance goals. Okay, you're going to learn how to plan out 90 days. You're going to learn how to micromanage that 90 days into 28-day checkpoints, and how do you manage yourself on a week-to-week basis. And the last week, you're going to learn how to reflect and review and put things into perspective so that you can raise your game. All right, guys. And by the end of the 28 days, you're going to go through what we consider is the foundational phase. Okay, so it's a foundational phase to building up to much bigger and better things. And the best analogy that I can give to people on this, and I talk about this a lot with business owners that I work with, and other men as well. Think about a skyscraper, and think about that skyscraper being your life. And as you build up the layers of that skyscraper higher and higher and higher, which means you're pushing yourself more in your business, more in your relationships, more in your career, and you are focusing purely on the bigger picture and all those things. If we don't have those foundations in place, then that skyscraper is going to end up toppling over. So what you guys are doing before you start building up and expanding is you're digging down. You're building foundations to remember. This is like boot camp for the military or the police or whatever, before you go out and you start creating your own craft. So before you start going out, creating your own canvas, painting your own canvas, writing the chapters of your book, we're building up the foundational phase. So if you look at this scenario here, you guys, can you all see that all right? Yeah? Okay. So if you look where you come from here, This is the middle finger saying fuck life. You kind of come into here, took a leap of faith. Then you come back onto the back to basic 28 day. So who did the 5 day? Just show of hands. Okay, quite a lot of you. Good. Guess how many emails I got at the end of this week after saying, I've completely forgotten everything. Is there any chance I can jump on the 28 day? I've got 25 emails. 25 emails. And unfortunately, we couldn't take them because we had already started the process. So those guys come from here. Who remembers me drawing this chart and drawing the hamster wheel and the mountain range, and what ends up happening on a 5 day? You either take charge of it or you're up and down and you have the hamster wheel and you come back. And that's what happens, right? You guys are here at the highest levels of awareness about where you are because you're involved and you're engaged. And you took the plunge here in the 4 frameworks that we're working, and hopefully that is working for you, right? Hopefully that's changing the game. So some of you are already some of you are like turbo keen as well. So some of you have been getting confused about the 90-day elite movement that's happening. You guys don't need to worry about that. You guys are on a different path to that, all right? You are the last group of men that will come through this process where you'll do the 28 day, and then we'll invite you to come on to the next phase. So for a lot of you, and I know a lot of you are talking to Mike and John about this, is what we call the embedding phase and the growth phase. Embedding phase and the growth phase, okay? So the embedding phase for me is taking everything that you've learned and practicing it over and over and over again within a community of men, okay? Being accountable, being focused, being hungry, and doing it within a community of men that have all gone through what you have gone through, have gone through the same stages of what you've gone through, and that's in the mastermind brotherhood, okay? Now, the other option is to do the accelerator program, which is where you work with me directly. And I think there's 3 of you that have already come in to do that already. All right. So once the course is finished, you'll come and work with me in a private WhatsApp group. Those that want to go to mastermind will go into the WhatsApp, into the brotherhood. So that is for me a 12-week phase. So that 12-week phase is about implementing what you're going to learn on Tuesday, creating a 90-day plan, okay, and going all in on it. Now, the way that the timing works for you guys coming in, so if you end up joining us, you'll end up joining us mid-February. So that means we've got 6 weeks left of the quarter. So what we're going to end up doing is focusing on what you're going to achieve in 6 weeks, okay? Because we want to keep you in line with the rest of the brotherhood. We work on quarters. So it's pointless us doing 90 days with you and then suddenly you're seeing us all working up and building up towards the second quarter. So you will create a 6 week embedding phase. And in that 6 weeks, you're going to create what you want to achieve most in each pillar. Bang, 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 bang. So that is going to be your objective. Now, the thing that I usually say to guys is don't get carried away. Simply make those goals aligned to what you've learned in the foundational phase, so you don't get carried away with yourself, all right? It's embedding phase. Embedding means that we are making this blood, we are making this DNA, we're making this second nature to how we are working. And you're going to do that with the help of us, with the help of the mastermind, which is a very similar format to what you're already in, but it's just a lot more to it. We've got challenges going on. We've got guest expert speakers in there. We do yoga every 2 weeks with Mary Ann. Excuse me. There's more accountability in there. We do meetups, we do monthly seminars, and we have a course or a module every single month just to reinforce everything that we're learning, okay? Then we go on to what I would call the growth phase. So the second part of your 6-month journey will be the growth. So once you have done those 12 weeks, we then look at the next 12 weeks and think, how can I push my comfort zones? Okay, so by the time you get to this phase here, you're going to start becoming hungry for more. Okay, and you're going to naturally become hungry for more because what you're going to see is some of the guys who've been in the mastermind for 2 years, 1 year, year and a half, even some of the guys that have been in for 8 months starting to want to grow. And you get to the point where you go, man, I nailed these basics. I'm now ready for something different. What can I sign up to that's going to push my comfort zones? If I'm in a career or a job I'm not happy with, is it time to start thinking about shifting jobs? What's the process? We've got Pam Langdon in there. She's a careers expert. She's part of the mastermind. And every Tuesday she offers career advice as well. And she's like our go-to girl in terms of how do you create a new job? And she's helped hundreds and hundreds of people. She's a senior, she used to be a senior corporate girl and she hated it. And she helps guys build their CV, build their job applications. So it might be that, hey, look, I want to create a plan, 6-month plan to change my job. Maybe you need to find love, maybe sort you need to relationships out, whatever it is. We go into a growth phase and everything is all predicated around achieving that elite operator status, right? So we have like what's called a pin system. So you might see this here, this pin here. These are things that we've just introduced. So for the guys that come into the mastermind, you guys start on this white pin. So it comes in a really nice box. But what the pin is, it's a shield. And what the shield kind of represents and stands for is community. And it's being part of the brotherhood, and it's being part of something much bigger than ourselves. So that we don't just do this by ourselves, or we don't just struggle on the hamster wheel. We don't just come off and go straight back to fucking where we were, all the way back down to here, because we don't have the ability to be able to continue what we're doing. It's about being part of something. It's about having the same values and principles and character that allows us to grow within the same community, right? And building that community as we go along. Now, right here are the 3 C's. So if we look at the embedding phase, does everyone remember me talking about the 3 C's that on the 5-day, or the majority of you, or through the webinar? Now, the 3 C's are consistency of action, control of your time, your energy, your balance and productivity, and then clarity of where you're going and how you're going to get there. So for me, this creates the ability to be able to overcome negative thought, negative self-talk or self-chat. So when you're trying to move forwards, for me, the chat has to change. Now, I spoke about this in one of the mental focus. The chat has to change with yourself. Now, you're always going to doubt yourself. You're always going to put yourself down. You're always going to say you're not good enough. Your self-esteem is going to go through periods, but it's about how do you flip it? How quickly can you turn that around? Okay. Reinforcing your new mindset, building your resilience, having accountability, okay, and having a community. Now, this part here is about working on your 10-year vision. Okay, so we're going to create that mission, work towards the bigger picture, and build clear missions and visions. So your 10-year vision, when you come out of here, is when what we start thinking about when we go for this phase here. So when we go for the growth phase, that's when I want you guys to really go in deep on where you're going to be in 10 years, that visualization. And by the time you go from here to here, your mentality is going to be unrecognizable. It's going to be completely different. And it is, because we see it with the guys. If you think about when your mindset was from here to here, it's already different. So from here to here in 3 months, it's definitely going to be 10x from what you are now. You're going to think differently. You're going to react differently. You're going to be making different decisions. And it's the same again when you get to here. I almost believe you condition yourself ready to be able to plan that far ahead and understand yourself better about what you want. Because a lot of people, having read the messages and the comments, don't quite know where their direction is yet. And that's okay. That doesn't matter. But it takes a bit of process and understanding yourself, because you're going through a transition of identity right now. You're going through leaving this guy here behind and working towards this guy. So it takes a period of time to be able to transition through. All right, guys. So before we go into me chatting with you guys about your progress and questions, etc., how this works now is that if you want to come to this phase with us, there's going to be an application form that's going to go in the app and in your emails at 11 o'clock. Okay, get your application forms in as soon as possible. Me, John, or Mike will contact you. Okay, and just make sure you're a good fit to come in. It doesn't matter what level you are. One of the biggest things that people say to me is, I don't think I'm good enough to come in a mastermind. The whole fucking point of you coming in a mastermind. It's like saying, right, I don't want to do boot camp because I'm not fit enough. I don't want to go to a fitness boot camp because I'm not fit enough. Whole point is to come and get fit and learn off everybody that is there. It is a safe environment. You'll find the differences between where you are and going in a mastermind is that you can post, is that you can share stuff about yourself. Everyone in there is exactly the same as you or going through something similar in there. Okay, it's all private, non-social media. So the application form will go in, get your application form in. We'll accept application forms right up until the very last Thursday. Okay, so not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. And all of the information will be on the application form for you. If there's any questions, you can message me or John or Mike, and we'll make sure we get back and answer any of those questions. Cool. Excuse me, I'm dying here. So what I'm going to do, if anybody wants to come on, ask any questions or share anything on your Zooms, there should be like a raising your hand icon. If you click on that, that will allow me to come onto you. We have around 45 minutes to 50 minutes to spend this time being able to just talk to some of you guys about what you want, about what you need, about what you're going through, about how you're progressing. It could be anything from, if you're unsure about anything about these phases, to anything you want to ask me while you've got my time. Don't all put your hands up at once though, yeah? You know. John, let's go. Right.
Yeah, morning JB, morning guys. It's just some feedback really. You mentioned you kind of reorganized the structures of this, and the starting off with the morning routine, kind of in line with what we're doing every day, right? When we get out of bed, I think has made a massive difference.
Yeah.
So ashamedly, I went on the 28-day challenge, I think in 2020, maybe early starting of 21, and I got into the hamster wheel and fell off probably about this time actually.
Yeah.
But this structure has really worked. So just a thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. And I think, like, I was just going to ask you when you did it, so it obviously would have been a lot different, because this first week last time was very much about where have you come from and self-awareness, right? And I want to shift it a lot more positive. But it's good to hear, mate. It's good to see you. Growing the beard as well. Okay, I think somebody else has got their hand up. James, if you just unmute yourself, mate.
Hi JB, morning everyone.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks mate. Doing a lot better, mate. Really appreciate for the obviously goals and tasks. It's really helped me as well.
Good man.
The only thing, I'm still with obviously a 10-year vision, mate. I keep thinking of, I just can't seem to get anything in place at the minute. So I'm just obviously going to keep working on it, but as I say, I'm just lost. I can't see that next point at the minute. That's all.
That's fine. Did you watch my video? When did I do it? It might have been the mindset focus yesterday.
Yeah, I've watched all the videos.
Okay. So I think, like with the 10-year vision, like what I was talking about here. So like, if you remember this, did you do the 5-day or webinar?
I did the 5-day, mate.
Okay. Do you kind of remember where you were before the 5-day and what your mentality was?
Absolutely rock bottom, mate. Yeah.
Okay. So think about you in that position there. Could you ever imagine about where you'd be and how you feel right now when you're at that point there? So at the start of that 5-day, you probably couldn't have imagined how you feel right now. And what are we? We've done 2 strong weeks of the actual course, and we did a pre-week and we did the 5-day, right? So we've done around 4 weeks. So if you look at how far your mindset has just come in 4 weeks, you're probably not in that place. The reason that I put that in there, that task, is because, do you know what? Even if you don't come up with something, you're already thinking about the future. You're already thinking about, like, where do I want to be? I can guarantee, although you haven't come up with anything, it's made you think a little bit about, fuck, where do I want to be in 10 years? There might not be an answer right now, but James, whether you join this next part of the program or not, even if you get to this next 4 weeks, these next 12 weeks or this next 12 weeks, in 3 months, if you think how far you've come in 4 weeks, think about how far you'll be in 3 months and where your mind will be in terms of being in a different place. Not only will you have learned probably 4 months worth of personal development and confidence building, not only will you have gone through that, but you'll be a lot clearer about what you want out of life. And I think the process creates the man. And when you go through a process, what you start doing unconsciously or consciously is dropping things that you don't like. Start understanding people you don't want to be around. Start tolerating, you only put up with what you tolerate, right? So you only put up with what you tolerate. And the things you start not tolerating anymore start disappearing. And it suddenly becomes more and more crystal clear about the path that you want to be on and the direction that you want to go. So what I would say is that, look, you've got till, I think we've got about 10 days or just under 2 weeks to be able to, like, before I've asked everyone to post it. Whether it's the final copy or not, have something in terms of some aspiration about where you'd want to be in your career, about where you want to have that, where that relationship is in terms of if you're married and you've got kids, or what that relationship looks like with yourself. Like, relationships is one that I always kind of think, what relationship do I want with myself or my alter ego, as well as the missus and the kids and the friends, right? Like, what would I love to have achieved? Like, I'd love to, like, part of my 10-year vision is to be able to run a 50 miler at 50 years old. Now, like, I've like spent the last 3 years doing 100 milers, 50 milers, and I can do it now, but could I do it at 50? And the whole point is that why I chose that is that I have to keep myself in shape mentally, physically, and emotionally all the way through the years to get me to that stage. So it was kind of like a good milestone for me to keep up fitness, keep up regimes. And I kind of like, when I feel like, oh my God, I'm feeling like old, I'm like, fuck that, I'm not old. And it kind of brings that emotional connection. So, but I must have done 15 versions of my 10-year vision. So every quarter, I just kind of review it, and then I evolve it, because I've evolved. Like, every quarter or every 12 weeks, you'll learn something new about yourself, which will move you a little bit closer to the person that you want to become. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
So I definitely don't stress it. Like, the last thing I want you to do is stress about it. Just have fun with it. Like, literally, like, where the fuck could I be? Like, if you want to run $1 million company, like, why not put that down and work towards it? Like, do you know, it's just an example of your imagination. The world's yours. The world's your oyster.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, JB.
Well
Cheers.
done in your progress, dude.
Thank you.
Mike, if you just unmute yourself.
Morning, JB. Morning, gents. How are we doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Yeah, good. Loving the process. Really enjoying it. Really found it very beneficial. So thanks for that. One of the questions I've got, though, is to talk about how your morning routines evolved. So what was it to start off with? Obviously, we know what it is now. You're out at 4:15 in the morning. But what drove that as well?
Oh, yeah, good questions. Let me just think. So the man coach started, so it used to be called a dad coach, right?
Yeah, I was watching then as well.
Oh, did you follow me then? Did you? Yeah. So it was there. So even before that, it was called James Borman Health and Lifestyle or some Chad shit. And it was in and around there, but I was still running my boot camp, right? I still had that going. And I knew that my morning routines would take in classes in the morning. And I just didn't want that, because I was giving all my energy to other people rather than to myself. And I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew that the man coach was like my life that I wanted to live.
Yeah.
Which is why I sold my boot camp. And when I sold my boot camp, I suddenly then had a morning where I didn't have to teach anymore. And I didn't really know, I didn't have those morning pillars that I taught you back then. They've evolved, if you like, in the last 2 years. When I started my morning routine, it was just a little bit all over the place. So I knew that I wanted to be up. I knew that I loved being outside. So I would just get up and then I would just walk. And then I would think, right, while I'm walking, why don't I just listen to some like audiobooks? So I went through a phase of walking 4 miles and listening to, man, I would crush through audiobooks. Like, in a month, I probably get 4 audiobooks in, right? Bang, 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 bang. And then I thought, oh, what's this meditation stuff about? So then I was like, right, why don't I walk to the end of the prom? I'll then do some meditation. And then actually I want some reflection time. So I'm not going to listen to audio on the way back, and then I come back and then I can just have that perspective and reflection time. So suddenly, over periods of time, my body was almost craving different things. And it's got to the point now that, and why I get up at 4:15 and not 5:30 like it used to be, was that I need more time to do more stuff for me. So it's evolved to the point now where I get up at 4:15, I'm down to seafront for 4:45. I do 45 minutes worth of work, walking, reflection, perspective. I don't even listen to an audio now in the morning. I I then sit down, and then you see me looking like a homeless man down the seafront in my camping chair and sleeping bag. But I find that period of time between, and then I do my show, obviously, and then that time between 5:45 and 7 is when I feel I'm at my most creative. So all of the emails that you read are me sitting in my phone writing those emails, is just sorting out all the shows in the social media, is coaching my personal clients or my accelerator and elite mastermind guys on my WhatsApp group. So by the time I finished at 7, what I feel is, as I've connected with myself, connected with my mentality, I've touch based with my audience. I feel like I've been at my most creative, and I've touched the clients who work with me personally, all by 7 o'clock. So that allows me to come home at 7, just be dad for an hour, just put my phone away and just go, right, kids, school run, help the missus out. And that's just the way it's evolved, just because of practice. And I think I get the urge and the need to want to make sure that I was doing stuff. So like, I was getting really frustrated coming home, doing my email, doing my social media stuff here. And then it was like interfering with the school run, and it was stressing me out. And I was like, right, I've got to bring it back, and I've got to do it as part of my time down the beach. So as you go through your journey, each and every single one of you will go through something, and you'll go, this is frustrating me. This is fucking niggling me. So I've got to change this. So then you change it. And what I would say to all of you is, next week, completely shift your morning routine and do something completely different. Because if it doesn't work, you can go back to something else. And what I did, Mike, was I created 4 different morning routines, and I was going to carry out one morning routine for 2 weeks, and then journal it. What was good about it? What wasn't good about it? Then whether it worked or not, I've gone to the next thing. So whether that was like, do you know what, I'm going to do 45 minutes here at home, then go out and not stress about it. But then there was other distractions and other things. And you just kind of find what works for you. It just, this whole process here, right? From this day here, going through here, the way that you think now, if you jump on this process, in 3 months, you're going to think different. In another 6 fucking months, you're going to be a completely different individual. If you think about how much you've shifted in 2 weeks. So the way that you think here is not the way that you're thinking here.
Yeah.
And definitely. That's through the evolution of the process. And if you ask any of the guys in the mastermind, I think there's some here, like especially John, who's just been on, people just shift that mentality because they go, oh my God, I get it. Oh my God, I get it. And it's just those aha moments through the process as you're writing your chapters.
Okay, brilliant.
Answer your question.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
No worries, Mike, anytime. Right, who's next? Ryan, just unmute yourself, dude.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, you, man?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Sorry, I've had my video off because I'm still bouncing around the house because we've got to get to work because the job didn't get finished yesterday. So I've got work today.
No worries, man.
Yeah, all good. I just wanted to add something mainly to, I didn't get his name actually, the guy just before. And he was saying he was struggling to think of the 10-year vision.
Oh, yeah, James.
And yeah, James. So Jez said something, my ambassador said something to me because I was struggling, and I said, I haven't got a clue what I want in life. Like, I don't get, there's nothing I'm aiming for. And he said to me, he said, well, what if you can't think about what you do want, think about what you don't want.
Yeah.
And that really clicked with me. And I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I get it. And there are definitely things I definitely don't want.
Yeah.
That made me thought, right, I've got to do this. I've got to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that really helped me. So I don't know if that'll help
yeah,
James
definitely.
or anyone else, but I thought that was really good.
So the way the language that we used in the mastermind for that is, what's the alternative? And I always often say to people, like, if I'm bollocking the group because some of them haven't been showing up or something hasn't been done, I usually say, what's the alternative to you not showing up? Like, and the alternative is to picture all of those things that you don't want to be. So the alternative for you guys, for you lot, if you think about the mentality that you were when you were here, I want you to all think about, before you even come on the 5-day or before you come on a webinar, and remember what that felt like. Remember the emotions you went through. Remember the way that you coped, whether it was drinking, drugs, sex, gambling, all of those fucking negative thoughts. And if you think about where you are here in this present moment right now, and you think about, man, I feel like, hopefully, I'm hoping that you all feel like you're moving forwards, that you're all feeling better about life, right? The alternative to you not showing up is this, which leads to that. And when you start thinking about that every day, so when you make that excuse, when you procrastinate, when you start doubting yourself, like when you go through that cycle, and you will, if you don't bring yourself out of it quickly, this is where you're heading. That's where you're heading. Where we want to be is the future, is this. And the way that I combat that, because I feel sorry for myself. Fucking hell, I get a kick up the arse from the missus when it's like, you know, I'm moping around sulking. We naturally sulk. We always do. We're always going to face negative emotions. We're always going to feel like we're hard done by or something's going to happen. But the difference is that building this mentality, this process, you get out of it a lot quicker. Like, and I don't know if any of you saw my Rise to Thrive show where I talked about the 5-minute rule. So if I suddenly start feeling sorry for myself, 5 minutes, right, I'm going to fucking manifest myself in it. I'm going to swim in that self-pitying victim mentality. And then I'm going to get bored of it and exhausted from it. And after 5 minutes, I'm going to come out of it and I'm not going to touch it again. So, sorry, Steve, I can see there's kids there as well. So we flip it. And it's how quickly we flip it so we don't end up going 1% in the wrong direction. So, Ryan, when you think about like what the alternative is, thinking about what the positive is, what's that thing that you want? So really good share.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah,
and like
properly work.
I mean, Jez has been part of the mastermind for 3 years nearly now, you know, and all your ambassadors are prime examples of people that have just made it this process. You don't have to work hard to do it now. It just happens. That's what we're working to get towards, right?
Cheers, bud.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you coming on. Mark.
Right, JB.
How's it going, bro?
Good, mate. Good. I just wanted to carry on the conversation about the morning routine.
Yeah.
Just to add context, I'm on the mastermind and I'm redoing the 28-day because I want to come out in trouble nailing my morning routine. And honestly, when you see the posts, everyone's kind of going, you know, they seem to be smashing it with like, you know, I'm doing Tai Chi and I'm doing this and this and this and this. And I'm still struggling to put together all the components. And at the moment, I'm grinding it out, waiting for some sort of moment where it becomes a little bit clearer and less fucking painful, and more of a routine. And I'm just wondering, am I either doing it right, or is there something, should I be trying to connect to it more? Because I've struggled where I am, why I've got to here has meant my vision of what I could achieve has changed totally in the last, and I'm just learning what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm having trouble emotionally connecting to a routine that will deliver me somewhere where I don't know where I'll be in 3 years' time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you enjoy your morning routine?
Bits of it.
Yes or no?
No. Well, it's still confusing. I'm still trying to do something to achieve, thinking there's a result of doing it, you know, rather than enjoy, like you said yesterday on your Rise to Thrive, enjoying the process bit.
Yeah. Of
anything is kind of, I'm sort of thinking, if I do this morning routine, will it, you know, I'm going to feel 10 times better in the morning. I know I probably do because I've got out and done the fresh air bit.
Yeah.
But
okay,
it's a connection to it.
I get it. With. Just by show of hands, everyone, and keep them up. Put your hands up if you enjoy your morning routine. Keep your hands up so I can look through the screens. Okay, great. So for me, Mark, the key thing is, like, when I wake up, the most excited part of the thing that really gets me up is, and my happy place, it's going to sound weird, is being in that camping chair, right? And when I get in that sleeping bag and I take my socks and shoes off and I fucking feel those feet, like, in that cold sleeping bag, is like, I am fucking, like, I love being in that camping chair, right? Like, and it sounds stupid, and people always take the piss out of me looking like a homeless man. I do look like a fucking homeless man, but being on that walk, there's two parts of my morning routine that really make me fall in love with my morning routine. The first part is that I have the ability to have a morning routine. Okay, it's the ability that, fuck me, I can get up and I can really connect with the world. So like I go on this walk, and this 45-minute walk, and I do a bit of Instagram stuff, and I kind of reflect my own thoughts, and then I just walk and I just think, and I kind of feel like it's freedom from all of this, like the world. Like when I'm walking down there, it's just me, and quite often I think, I would fucking survive. Sorry, Steve, I can see there's a kid right in front of the screen there. Sorry. I would survive an apocalypse, because do you know what? The world is mine for 45 minutes. I can think what I want. I could do what I want. I will go down the part of this seafront that is pitch black. I see the same woman with her two dogs. She's the only person that I see. And that time there allows me freedom from 4 kids, a partner, not that I don't love them or don't want to be around them, from all of my clients, from the man coach, from any identity to anyone. It's just me. Like I have no obligations, right? And I don't think I would feel the same way if I was sat on my sofa. So if I was sat on my sofa for the same amount of time, I don't think I'd get that. So for me, one of the most important parts of a morning routine, and I purposely don't tell people what to do on their morning routine, because it's down to you. But one of the best things that I ever did was walk. Like, and I walk 4 miles or more in the morning, and I do it in about 50 minutes, 45, 50 minutes, because what we do, it's all science, right? It's all chemistry, the balance in here. But when we enjoy rebalancing, recalibrating our head and everything going through our head, when I sit down in that camping chair to go into phase 2 of my morning routine, I'm in such a great place. I can tell you sometimes, guys, 50 minutes earlier, I'm not in a great place. Like I could wake up and I can be like, I feel like the man coach is going to close down. I feel like I'm not a good enough father. I feel like I'm not a good enough coach. There could be something in there biting away at me. But I know that by the time I start phase 2, I'm going to be in a good place every single time. And I've been in, like last year was probably the worst year since I left the military, meant for my mental health. And I can put it down to the fact that 45 minutes leveled me out. And there was some times when I was just like, I was having a cry when I was walking. I felt really low. I felt like completely out of it, like dead and buried. But just walking like that sets you up. And I think you've got to, I am in love with that morning process. I love getting up to it. I hate the first 5 minutes. No one in here can turn around and say they love the first 5 minutes of waking up, because it's like, oh my God, like, walking around like a zombie. And I think you've got to love your morning routine. And then for me, my little signature part is getting in that sleeping bag. And I love writing for the guys. I love doing the show. It helps me as well when I write all of this stuff. Subconsciously, I'm writing it. A lot of the stuff that I write is what I'm going through myself, or my thought processes, or the conversations I'm having. Excuse me. And then I love the fact that phase 3 is going home, and I don't have to look at my phone for the next hour and a half, and I can just be free. So what I want you to focus on, Mark, when we leave here is kind of like shifting this morning routine. Like get up, spend 10 minutes taking a wee, having a drink of water, get a Camelback on. That's what I carry. Get a Camelback so you can get the food. Just get out the house. Like, do you get out the house in the morning?
Yeah, no, I go. My big part of my morning routine is actually going for a walk. So I when I said I don't like every bit of it, I do actually. I go for a walk, and I know I always write 30-minute walk, but half the time I bank it out to an hour, because I enjoy it. Yeah, half an hour to an hour, because I just really enjoy the morning, the cold, fresh air. Yeah, is like, so that is the one bit I do enjoy. It's just when.
What don't you enjoy?
Pardon?
What don't you enjoy?
I don't think I'm doing enough of it. I don't know.
You put too much pressure on yourself, Mark.
Yeah, I have this massive problem of doing that. Trying to achieve everything really quickly to get to the end result, not the process. And I know that is a challenge of mine.
Okay.
And I'm working on that as well. But that's kind of where I'm hoping that maybe there's some sort of like kind of epiphany after 4 weeks of just getting up earlier. But and I know it won't be that, but it's kind of just trying to, own it a little bit more, and just because you see some people and they're like banging out like, it's 15-minute hit routine, 30-minute weights and all that sort of, and yeah.
Stop comparing, because if Gary, Chris or Ian are banging out 15-minute hits, that's because they want to do that. This is your personal morning routine, right? So number one, don't compare yourself to anybody. This is your journey. It's what you love doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enjoy and love the process. Stop beating yourself up, bro, because the alternative is actually not doing one and not being here, not getting up.
Yeah.
100%. There are lads that are, I'm trying not to swear, that are miserable, that are absolutely miserable in life and will not get out of bed.
Yeah.
But you are. So let's flip this and look at the positives. Number one, you're up. Number two, you're out the house. Number three, you're here.
Yeah.
Number four, you're moving forwards, right? And being in part of the mastermind as well. You this hopefully will just reset.
It is, and just on a note of that, I think you've got your new structures working well, mate.
Thanks,
I can, I'll talk to John or whatever after this, or but yeah, it's good. But yeah, this is helping this structure's better, and I think just the clarification on the morning routines, what I've been getting most out of this.
100%. And when everybody leaves, when we used to do the old system, the best thing that most people got is that morning routine, which it shifts the mindset, the mentality. With that morning routine, we just nosedive, right?
Yeah.
Mark, thanks for sharing for everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Wes. Just unmute yourself if you can hear me, mate. Are you here, Wes?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for this. It was a major step. I think you just came at the right time, and I don't know. I was just mucking about on my phone, and something you said just connected with me. So took the punt, and I joined up with the group. I've been in rehab, and it's pretty similar to it, but I think the way they were coming off with it, it was a lot of dictating. And what I've found a hell of a lot more is that I'm able to understand myself now and come to realities about life itself. And I'm grateful for what you guys have given me. It's also a way of me being aware of how to connect to myself and be open and honest. Sometimes it's going to offend people, sometimes it's not. But I do look forward to my micro AMs, my walks in the morning. It's profound. It's humbling, because I was just walking the dogs. And then after it got to a point where I just started feeling like, your conscious state of mind comes into play. This is a beautiful time just to meditate, take it all in, look at the sky and look at it from being pitch black. And I've walked the whole field or wherever I'm going, and I've seen the universe just change in front of me. And I'm just like, I would never have been able to do this if I didn't have you telling me, get up, do something, feel, embrace this new feeling which we're experiencing, and our mindsets will slowly adjust to it. At times I do find that I'm writing it down and doing a daily routine and structure, but sometimes I'm aware now that I'm falling off the path if I'm not trying to have a structure or a routine. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity of being able to connect and know that I'm not the only one that thinks they're fucked, but we're not fucked. It's just we have a different way of thinking, and it's more of a case of keeping ourselves grounded and having a vision and a purpose.
Yeah, man. Really beautifully said. Really beautifully said. You know what I love most about that is because you obviously have the same connection in the morning as I do, and it's watching the universe change. I walk to the end of the promenade, and it, like you say, at the minute it's pitch black, and then on the way back, dusk usually. Obviously, it's not an awful day. You start to see the sun come up, and you start to see. I'm very fortunate where I live in the seafront, and you start to see the line of the light to darkness shift, moving left, and then suddenly you see all the stars disappearing, and you're definitely right. And what I really love is the way that you talk about how we're trying to ground ourselves, which is very much what we're trying to do. We're trying to anchor ourselves. We're trying to build our conscious mind and connect our unconscious mind to our front of our forelobe conscious mind, and understanding ourselves better and understand the decisions that we're making, the direction that we're taking. and actually you're quite right that, you know, we're not fucked. All we are is doing is just that our mind's a little confused right now. And all I'm teaching you guys to do is recalibrate.
Yeah.
And when you get through this recalibration system here, we then start to embed it so that it becomes a new way, a rewiring. It's like an electrician wiring an electrical port. Okay, what you end up doing, the reason that you do your morning routines, the reason that I've set up the mastermind in terms of, you guys won't have seen it, but the way that I've set up the new accountability system is that you are consistently being accountable, which is slowly turning the clogs here to rewire the way that you work, right? And the constant trainings that we do. So every month there's a module and it realigns you to all of the, oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God, I needed that. Oh my God, that's a sharpener. And then suddenly you see a guy who posts up who hasn't been shown up for 4 weeks and has realized that he got lost and now he's back. And then you go, God, it's not just me. It's not just me that goes through that. It's everybody else that goes through that as well. And that's why I'm quite open and honest about it. Like, you know, because there is nothing different other from me than you guys, other than I've been doing this probably longer. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. It's like it's like expecting to walk into a jiu-jitsu mat, me just being on day one, expecting to be able to choke out a black belt of 20 years. You know, you guys are at the very start of your journey, and the future, the process is a huge self-discovery, like in motion, and you'll learn so much about yourself. And what is most beautiful about it, and the guys in the mastermind will hopefully back this up, is that the mentality of this guy here to this guy here or this guy here is completely unrecognizable. And that's when you start getting comments from your missus going, man, like, who are you? Like, do you know what I mean? And you start doing something different and your missus is like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you know what I mean? Or your mates are telling you, and you'll find that you'll leave people behind. There are many, many people that I have left behind, people who I thought would be my friends for life, but they don't get me, they don't understand me, and it, you know, and they challenge it, and I don't have time for it. I don't have time in this very short life for people that are not aligned with me.
I look at it in a sense of when it comes to friends, sorry to cut you.
Yeah, go, mate.
It's the understanding. I know who my friends are, my good friends. They will know my knife and forks are in the house and never have to ask me for a plate of food.
Yeah.
When it comes to people that you're cutting away, they're just associates. That's all they are.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah. I look at everyone. The way that I look at the mastermind and the brotherhood is very much like family, because everyone in there is the same person as I am. And that's the way that, like, and that's what I kind of try to create. So like when we left the military, every man is the same. So like when we went to Afghan, like the guy to the left and right of you, you do everything possible to look after them. And that was my vision when I started the Man Coach, was to create a community around the world, like worldwide, so that we've got guys in America, guys in Africa, guys in like Europe, all under one roof, all the same guy. It's like an army. And then suddenly when you're in an army, you suddenly feel belonging. And I feel like that's what I lost for a lot of my life when I left the military, is belonging to something, is being related to people. And then it changes the way you think about the world, because when you're lost and all is lost, you suddenly, we got a couple of guys who are going through some things right now. And, you know, I spoke to one of them yesterday and he's just like, I would be literally, if I wasn't in this group here, and all the lads got around him, every one of them, every single one of them in this elite mastermind of mine got around him. And it's powerful. That shit is powerful, you know, really, really powerful.
No.
I appreciate sharing everything you've gone through, mate. You know, I know you messaged me as well. I've just seen them this morning as well. So like, and I know like some of the stuff you're going through, and I like, the only thing I would say to you is just like, you know, it's 1% a day. It's like 1% a day. And for all of you, don't rush this process. Enjoy it, like embrace it. Don't force the outcome. The outcome is not important. If you don't reach your goals, it's not important. What is important is the process and what you learn, and the man it makes you. Like, you know, it's the outcome is the direction. It's the burning flame, but the process is 100% what builds the inner strength and resilience to keep showing up.
No, definitely, I can see it. I'm more consciously aware. It's just I think you've used a format which I can see, I can understand it a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's more of a case of us connecting in the group. If you're not getting it, maybe there's another way we can say it, which might have to use an F-bomb. You know, you've got to find a dialogue that will connect with you, but it's not a dictatorship.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, it's definitely, it's not, we're a one, you know, I like, and it's just, it's an incredible journey. And you look at where some of the guys have come from and what they've done, and it's, you know, it's amazing to see what you can achieve when you literally shift. And it's my first book, the title of it is All a State of Mind. That's literally all it is.
Yeah, no, look, you got me back onto reading. I'm reading Ant Middleton's The Fear Bubble.
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend it, about climbing Mount Everest. And yeah, and his mental state of mind, it's just like, mate, wow, you've been in prison. I had no idea. You've been in the army and you're thinking in your fear bubble and all that sort of stuff. It's just like, yeah, I'm getting it. And especially understanding where you're coming from and giving us as much notes to take, absorb,
yeah,
then reflect. And in the morning, you're just like, yeah, what have I done? 1%. Okay. So I'm walking with my head held higher now and just calmer and more relaxed. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good, man. Thank you for sharing, Wes.
Thanks.
Right, let's do Bruce and then we'll come on to Phil. Bruce, if you unmute yourself, bro.
Morning, JB. Yes, a quick one. Yeah, the morning routines for me are fantastic, and I've really bought into them for quite some time. So it's just really discipline for me, and getting over the odd day where I don't have any motivation to do things. So that's one thing. But the general routines are great, and I thoroughly buy into those. I guess one of my biggest challenges I've got just now, and it's something I've been having for quite some time, is comparing myself to others. And that's a constant challenge for me, both in business and also in my personal life. I think we live in a world now where it's very easy to pick up on so many other factors that can influence you and what you're doing. And that's something I have a constant battle with. And it comes back to what James was saying before about his 10-year vision. I've sat down and tried to kind of map out my 10-year vision, and I really struggle with that. And I'm self-employed. I've got a small business, and that's okay. It's going quite well. But I think when you start comparing to others, you start questioning whether you're on the right path or not. And you know, I've always wanted to work for myself for many years, and I've now managed to kind of make that happen. But I do wonder whether that's just been the wrong path for me to follow, or whether it should be on some other journey. And the comparing to others is making that quite difficult in my head. And because of that, it also then seems to demotivate me at times, because you can see other people doing other things and you think, well, actually, I should be doing that. This should be doing better than this. And maybe I'm on the wrong path. Therefore, maybe I should just not do this.
Yep.
But I'm finding that's one of my biggest challenges for everything, in terms of even my daily routines. If I'm feeling like I'm not doing the right thing, then why am I doing the daily routines? And that's where I am just now. And it'd be good to get your thoughts into how you would deal with that. I know it's a learning process, and there's lots of activity to do behind that, but I'm lost with that. I'm struggling to find a way forward.
Okay. So why does it matter what other people are doing?
Because I think I should be doing better all the time and everything, really, I guess.
Why should you be doing better than them?
Fulfillment, ego, maybe, probably quite a lot to do with ego, I think.
Okay.
I think it's very hard to separate.
So what you've achieved in your business. So like, how long have you been running your business?
For 6 years.
6 years. Okay,
yeah.
Great. How many staff have you got?
4.
Great. Okay. What is it?
So we are a specialised firm of chart surveyors. So we do a lot of onshore wind, land, property negotiations, and that kind of stuff for renewable projects around the country.
Busy?
Very busy.
Okay, great stuff. Taking a good amount. Is the business taking a good amount of money?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I
Why
can't,
the fuck does it matter what anyone else is doing?
because it's just
Not fucking, mate. You have 4 staff under you. You're all around the UK. You're taking a good salary. You have worked your nuts off for 6 years and been in business and had a business through 2 of the most dramatic years of what will be our lifestyle until World War III next year. And you have achieved all of that. And when you get to whatever or whoever it is that you're comparing yourself to, you'll then look at the next person and go, right, that's not enough. I want to be that. That's not enough. I want to be that. So when you earn $1 million, you want to earn 10. Then you want to earn 100. Are you happy?
That's the question. Maybe that's
why aren't you happy?
It just doesn't feel enough. It doesn't feel like it's not that specific, business focus, but it's.
Do you know any business owners I work with and have this conversation with? Like nothing. It's an entrepreneurial thing. What you're going through is exactly what I'm going through. I think the man coach is nowhere near where it should be. And that's what my fucking missus has to live with all the time, my mentoring coach. But actually, I've got to a point where I don't look at the man coach being enough. I look at, am I enough? And I think I am. Like, and I've come to and this is the thing I've worked on this year, is that I unfollow everybody that's competition. Like, if you look at my Instagram, I follow maybe only 50 people that like I even know or genuinely like get motivation from. I don't look at my competition. There is no competition. I don't care about other people that serve men. All that I focus on is me being the best version of myself for my lads in my group, in my world. That's all that matters to me. And you have to have that conversation, because your mentality is the same as my mentality. It's the same of the millions of entrepreneurs that are there. I'm never happy. When will you be happy? And you will torment yourself getting to that point of, I'm never going to be happy. You could take on another 10 staff and you could do another £3 million and you still wouldn't be happy. It's not the comparison. Like, look at what you have achieved in this 6 years. Through the last 2 years, you're still sitting here and you still have a business and you're still busy and the business is taking a good wage. There is nothing to go. People will be looking at you, comparing themselves to you.
Okay. Yeah. I just say it's maybe it is that. Maybe it's the acknowledgement of the fact that we'll never be pleased. I will never be happy. It'll always be something else. So
shift that mentality with, look how far I've come. Because do you know what? I had a conversation with my partner over coffee last Saturday, exactly a week ago. And I turned around and I was like, oh God, I said that. I said, the man coach is just not where I want it to be. It's just not growing the way I want it to grow. And she went, the James of 4 years ago would have killed to be where the James is of today is. The vision years ago was to be where the James is of today. The James in 4 years from now, when we are global, and I would then go, it's still not enough, right? We need to, like, what more can I do? That is just hunger. That's passion. Don't recognize it as a fault. That's the fire in you. Like, I want more. I want to drive more. But actually, just be happy, man. Like, enjoy the process. Don't force it. You know, tomorrow I could walk out here, get run over by a bus. You just don't know what's it. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the process. Business is like a huge game, man. Yeah. And it is, when you look at it as a game and you look at it as a long-term thing, like people that say to me, do you know what? I want to be like fucking retired at 50. I want to be financially free. If I said that to myself, right, and I wanted to retire in 7 years, I would literally be this guy here, because I'd have no purpose, no fire, no drive.
Yeah.
I don't ever plan to retire. I plan to do this. Maybe not as such a bigger scale, but like, I love what I do. You love what you do. You're good at what you do, no doubt, or she wouldn't have been in business for 6 years. Fucking love it, man. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's not seen as a negative, and maybe that's the bit I've been doing wrong, is I've been viewing as a negative, and that ability to always be unhappy or feeling unhappy is because I'm viewing as a negative rather than viewing as a positive, and maybe that's the difference. When you get here, mate, definitely when you get here, but when you get here,
you'll think differently.
Great. Okay, thanks a lot.
Right on, Bruce. Chris?
Morning, JB. Morning, gentlemen.
How's it going, bro?
Doing not too bad. You?
Good, man.
Good. Yeah, enjoying the course. Some things are easier than others, I guess. We're all individuals. We all have our struggles in different areas. For me, it's, I want to talk about the concept of kind of self-care and the morning routine and how you deal with, particularly when it comes to relationships, if you upping your self-care, like doing the morning routines and stuff, if you start to get resistance from, say, your partner, if they're saying, well, it's all right for you, you done your morning routine and I've been up with the kids 5 times this night, how do you cope with that, the stress that can bring on the relationship? And
is that what you're experiencing now?
Yeah. And it's not all the time, but it tends to be like a kind of heat of the moment thing.
Yeah. Have you so since you've done this process, have you sat down and worked out when she can have her time? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So if you turn around to her today after this and went, listen, babe, I'm going to have the kids tonight if you wanted to go out and have a bath, or I'm going to take the kids out for the day so you can have some time to yourself.
Yeah.
Balance is key. Communication and understanding is key. So when we turn around and go, like Jemima is not a morning person. She doesn't need a morning routine, but what she needs is a 2-hour bath for some reason with candles, feeling like there's not a 7-month-old or a 4-year-old going, mummy. Yeah. So I take him out of the house. We'll go out for 2 hours and she will have that time. Yeah. Or you could do something like, hey, when was the last time we went for a spa? Book your missus in for a spa for a morning at the local bank. I'm going to take the kids off. This is your time.
Yeah.
When it's all you, and it's like, oh my God, like what's going on here? There's imbalance. There's resistance. And all it is, and this is what happens when your mates start seeing you progress and leave them behind. Like, it's jealousy. Like, and there's nothing against the missus. She needs time. She sees you improving as a man. She has the same problems as you. Like, the only reason I work with men is because I spent 7 years working with women in my boot camp. And I connect better with men having come out of the military, and I want to work with men because that's what I go through. But it doesn't mean that these problems are not happening with women. Like, they have the same mental health issues. They have the self-confidence issues. They need time out. They need reflection time. So once you finish this, sit down with her next week and go, look, I wanted to, don't make it too obvious that we've spoken about it, but I just wanted to sit down and say, I've been working on myself. Do you want some time to yourself over the next week? If so, let's plan it in. I'll take the kids out.
Yeah.
It will change. It will literally change it, man.
Cheers. Thank you.
Anytime, bro. Cool. Anything else before we dash off? Everyone happy? Good stuff, guys. All right. Okay. So I'm going to get this up. Application forms are going up at 11. So if you want to come and join us for the rest of this, feel free to enjoy the rest of the course. Reach out if you need to with me. You know where I am. And then I'll be back in the office Monday morning. Have a good weekend.